Yesterday I did the video about being palatable and letting them choke. But you can't really let those people choke if you are dependent on them. And today I want to talk about why the girls need FU money. But before I do, I want to show you a secret as it relates to my life just 6 years ago. And it's not really a secret, but I haven't talked about it here. I went and found my EBT card. 6 years ago, I was on food stamps. I had gotten let go from my job during the pandemic. And which was very ironic because during that time I had started my coaching business and I had created a fire my boss plan, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. But if I had FU money, that would have been very different. I want to say this. I don't want to talk about money because it buys happiness or it allows you to be more beautiful. I want to talk about money, especially in the hands of women, because I really believe that it can cause us to have great impact in our world. This Heal the New Sexy channel has women all across the world, in Africa, in Europe, in Canada, in South America. I'm here in the United States, and I really believe that we are supposed to have global impact. And whatever your financial situation is today doesn't mean without work it can't change. We need FU money. If you're new here, welcome to Heal the New Sexy. We're discussing all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Samithia. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I am not a financial advisor, okay? I don't want the FTC coming to get me because I know some people like to call the FTC, okay? But this is the thing. Money gives you options, and options is protective. Many women don't have access to money, and that has you making decisions against your own physical, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual well-being. And today I want to address that. Today, I want to empower you to use your gifts and your talents to go out there and get money. I want to empower you to ask for the raise. I want to empower you to ask for the job or to go after the job, to fill out the application. I want to empower you to start the business because we need that FU money and we need it like yesterday. Some of you are in relationships and you really can't move because you are dependent upon that man. But guess what? Today is the day that you create a plan to secure your FU money. We need to get out of debt and we need to be able to identify ways that we can be making this money. Listen, it's estimated in 2030 that $34 trillion is going to transition to the hands of women. Those women are going to be decision makers in the earth. And if you are going to be one of those women, you have to start thinking strategically about how you want to use this money, not just as it relates to your well-being, but also the community's well-being, the nation's well-being. Some of you are in countries that girls can't read, that there are orphanages where girls are being taken advantage of, where they're experiencing all type of horrors. You, with this type of FU money, will be able to change the trajectory of a little girl's life. And I'm using little girls because we are women, but we will be able to change the lives of children and the people that we care about us. Not just our family and friends, but having a large impact. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Not just your, my four and no more, but the block being good, the community being good, the school that's being shut down because of funding. You have the money and the income to pay for that school, to pay not just for the electricity, but you're the payroll. I live in here in Atlanta. There are schools that are being shut down because of funding. What would it be for me to have the wealth and the income to be able to say, no, you got to shut the school down. I got it for the next 10 years. Don't worry about it. I'll write the check. We good for the next 10 years. I'm paying salary. I'm paying benefits. I'm paying for books. I'm paying for test prep. I'm paying for all of that. That's what's going to happen and can happen in the next 4 years when we get this FU money, baby. Because it's not just about us looking good, living good, smelling good, and living good. It's about us having an impact. It's about us having an impact in the education realm, in the political realm, in the medical realm, in our relationships. It's about us having impact, okay? Now over here, healing is not just about our emotions. It's about even our habits, how we view and see things. Some of us have mental blocks as it relates to money, and we have to address that, okay? Listen, let me hop right in. I got a few notes. So let's talk about FU money. FU money is not a specific dollar amount, but I want you to be a billionaire. Matter of fact, down below in the comments, I want you to write what you want your FU amount money to be. I want to be a multi-billionaire. Okay? Not just so that I'm sitting on money, but I'm using this money to positively impact the earth. Period. I don't want to, like the Bible says, you owe no man but to love them. I believe that debt is a cruel ruler, and that's why I'm working to get my FU money, okay? So if you see me on, you'd be like, dang, Cynthia posted 3, 4, 5 videos a day. Yes, because I'm trying to get this FU money, okay? All you got to do is comment, like, and share, and help your girl out, all right? Listen, it's the amount of money that allows you to make decisions based on your values instead of survival. And many of us have had to make decisions based off of survival. Many of us, even as it relates to, like last year, I got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, triple negative breast cancer. And the insurance company, one medication, I forget, I want to call it Neulasta, okay? Neulasta. So after you get, I was at the end of chemo and I had 4 rounds left. There's a very aggressive chemo that you get. They call it the Red Devil. And the nurse has to hand push it into your port over 10 minutes. In the 10 minutes. And so after that, because it's so aggressive, your immune system, it wipes it out. And so Neulasta is a medication. I know there's a medical doctor in the comments. Clean it up for the girls. Give them all the medical terms, because I don't know the medical terms because I was just going through, okay? So they give you the medication. They can even put it on the back of your arm. So I think within 24 hours, you get the injection so that your bones will create your, will make the cells for your immune system, okay? Because the insurance company that I have changed their, what medication that they were covered or not, I wasn't able to get that medication. I got it one time. And then I had to get another medication, and I ended up getting that medication 3 times. But that medication, the first medication, the Neulasta, I didn't have any side effects with. The second medication, I did. Imagine having FU money that when the insurance company says, we're not going to pay for that medication, you're like, it's okay, FU, I can pay for the medication I want to, because I know that I will have less side effects on this medication. And no longer is the insurance company playing doctor or playing God with your body. That's why we need FU money. That right there. Okay? It's money. FU money is money that allows you to walk away from things that harm you: a toxic job, a manipulative relationship, an unhealthy church environment, a bad business deal, a dangerous living situation. FU money says, I don't have to tolerate this because I have options. I have options, and that changes everything. Let's start with relationships. FU money changes the dynamic of the relationships. Some of you guys, and I see it in the comments, you watch the content of a person who calls himself a financial advisor, and I'm not going to debate that. But one thing I believe is that many women need to decenter men from their money, and you need to go after the money and create it yourself, because when that money is in your name, you have control over it. You don't have to perform for money, okay? When the money is yours. Many women stay in situations they know are unhealthy because leaving feels financially impossible. You're married, but you may be a stay-at-home mom, so you can't leave because you have no form of income. Maybe you've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. You have no retirement, or you have multiple children with a man and you feel like you can't leave because he is the primary breadwinner. There's been a lot of conversation on these internet streets about a high value man and him being able to cheat. And therefore, if that man cheats on you, if he lies, if he's irresponsible with the money, because you don't have FU money, you have to stay in a relationship that's not serving you. No more. No more. The girls have to go out there and get the money. I don't care. You may be like, Cynthia, listen. You may be like, Cynthia, I live in Section 8 housing, Cynthia, and I want to get out of here. Baby doll, I lived in the projects in Savannah, Georgia. They're not even there anymore. They were called Garden Homes. After I lived in Garden Homes, I went to Camden, Sugar. I know how, and I understand. I was a child, but I know and I understand. You, baby doll, will get out of the hood. Don't worry about it. I remember the lady who used to make them cool pops. If you got to go and use your food stamp card to go get you some, then people gonna get me, but do what you got to do. But many of us, and this is the thing, we have to really challenge patriarchy, because patriarchy has created a system for women to be disenfranchised. I really believe that some of the things that are happening in our political climate right now is to ensure that women don't have the rights that they've gotten over the past couple of years, that have allowed us to be breadwinners, that have allowed us to come to the proverbial table and be able to negotiate what it is that we want. Or basically just say, listen, we're going to take it or leave it. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I desire. This is how you're going to treat me. And there are some people who have an issue with that. And that's why they are making laws or repealing laws as it relates to our reproductive health. And I'm going to talk about that later. But leaving a relationship means that you have to pay rent alone, find childcare, you lose financial support, and you start over. So the relationship becomes less about love and more about survival. And it doesn't matter. You could be in a relationship with a man using him for survival, whether he makes 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, or 8 figures. There are some women who have decided, I'm not going to leave this relationship because it's going to change my lifestyle. But when you have FU money, you determine your lifestyle. It's determined by you. And survival creates compromise. So now you have to compromise. Now you allow him to cheat, or now you turn an eye when he cheats, or now you're allowing him to be verbally or physically abusive to you because you are in survival mode. You need him to survive. Remember that song? I'm not going to break out song, but listen. Money gives women the ability to make cleaner decisions, not perfect decisions, but cleaner decisions, because you're not worried about how you'll eat next month. You're not worried about how you will feed your children. Remember, was it last year? I think it was last year in November when a bill was passed here in the United States, and it impacted states getting it impacted states getting food stamp money, right? So there were women who didn't have the money to be ordered to feed their children. So imagine a woman, and let's be for real, going to a man and being desperate because I need to feed my babies. But when you have FU money, you don't have to worry about being desperate. You don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. You don't have to worry about the lights being cut off. You don't have to worry about that because you have your own money. And not just money to get through. You have 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year worth of money laid to the side. You have a high yield savings account. You have a brokerage account. You have a 401k. You have an HSA. You have all of these accounts set aside so you don't ever have to compromise your life for your survival. Money gives women political power. This is a conversation that we don't have enough. But people with money have influence. They have influence. With money comes influence. And that's why there are certain groups, certain minority groups that are disenfranchised because they don't want you to have influence. People with money fund campaigns. I remember a few years ago, Stacey Abrams was running for governor and how that turned out. Right now we have Keisha Lance Bottoms here in Georgia running for governor. People with money support organizations. I'm a social worker, right? I could use my money to support the NASW, a lobbying body. One of the things they do is lobby for social workers with Congress. People with money shape communities. As it relates to nonprofits, I am a single mom. I hold single mothers dear to my heart. There is a nonprofit agency here in my area that I am wanting to partner with called Helping Mamas. What would your money do for your community? Where I live in a nice neighborhood, but there is no playground. But as a woman with FU money, you can ensure that every space and area that you are, that there's a playground so that your children can go outside and they can play in a safe space. We have to think about the strategies that's being rolled out in our communities. Money says there's not going to be a data center here. That's what FU money says. People with money build institutions. For generations, women were told just focus on finding a husband, while other people were focused on acquiring land, businesses, investments, and influence. If women want safer communities, better schools, better healthcare, and stronger opportunities for future generations, we cannot be absent from economic spaces. There is an AI boom happening. Where the girls at? Who run the world? Girls, where we at? How many of us are learning about AI? Let me tell you this. You may not approve of AI. You may say, Cynthia, I don't care for AI because of what it does to the environment. Yes, but are you learning about AI so that you can testify before Congress or your global or your governmental body about the impact? Are you funding the research, or do you have the money to fund the research to support your claims as it relates to how AI is detrimental? Are you looking to get an AI governance certificate so that you can start writing law and policy? You may have a Juris Doctorate, and so you are going to write law and policy. And let me say this about these student loans, because I'm getting ready to go there. When you have FU money and your student loans and payment change, be like, man, forget that. Let me just go ahead and pay this in bulk. Because one thing about it, two things for sure, these people ain't going to get no interest money off of me. They're not. The girls need FU money. FU money gives you power. It gives you influence. And in the right hands, we can change the trajectory of our nation. FU money. Money isn't personal. It isn't. It's the influence. Money is a voice. And sometimes the person, I see his name. He was a president. He said, Roosevelt. He said, speak softly, but carry a big stick. When you have wealth, you can speak softly, but you got a big stick, and it's called wealth. Listen, when women have resources, they can help shape the future instead of simply reacting to it. When Roe v. Wade was repealed, yes, there were protests. There was. Yes, there were laws that were changed. However, I didn't see women with means, access, and wealth. I didn't see the conversation they were having to guide what was happening in their country and in their state. Yeah, we can get online and we can talk all they want to, all day. We can talk about how unfair it is, the impact it is, blah, 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 blah. But money talks. That was a movie. Money talks. Let's talk about how money creates educational opportunities. Every woman watching this can probably think of something she wanted to learn but couldn't afford. Whether it was a degree, a certification, a coach, a mentor, a conference, a business opportunity. Knowledge changes lives, but access often requires resources. When you don't have money, there's a certain level of information that is gate kept from you. That's why we need this money. Gotta get this money, okay? When you have money, there are certain rooms and access that are available to you. People take you seriously when you sit at the table and you're a part of the 1%. Women have wealth, right? When women have wealth, they don't just educate themselves, they educate their children. One thing, I have a son, for those of you who don't know, he's 10 years old. I am 5'5". My 10-year-old son is 5'5". Whenever we go somewhere, people are like, oh man, you need to put him in football, man. No. My son's not going to shuck and jive for a scholarship. Why? Because his mama has FU money. No longer will children of color have to perform in certain spaces and places in order to get a higher advanced education. Maybe if we have this FU money and we are getting involved with politics, we can advocate for universal health care and universal education for our children like they have in other Western countries, such as England, such as Germany. I grew up in Germany, right? They have free health care, education. They also had kindergarten. You gonna say, Cynthia, what is kindergarten? That was financial support for a mother when she had a baby. Ask me for how long? 5 years. Let me put up one hand. 5 years. The government paid that mother for that child. And guess what? The last I heard, whatever job she had, they had to keep her job. Now, we over here in the great US of A, they say, your FMLA is what? 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how you deliver the baby? No real thought. Because even though 6 weeks you're healed, baby, your mind is not there. You're sleep deprived and you're expected to go back to work. And this is the thing. FMLA saves your job, but it don't pay you. So now you are having a child, which is a beautiful thing. Your time with that child is not as, depending on what company you work for, is 6 weeks. Or if you get a C-section, 12 weeks. When you have FU money, you could get pregnant and say, I'm not coming back. One thing I told a young lady who I was doing work with, she was like, Cynthia, I want to have children. I said, start saving money now. So when you have children, if you could decide whether or not you want to stay home because you've started building your wealth now, period. If you're a young woman under the sound of my voice, you know you want family, you know you want to be married, you know you want to have children, start saving your money now. If it's just you get your income tax return and you put it aside, you get a raise and whatever the differential is in that raise, you put it aside. You work a shift, you work a later shift and there's a shift differential, you put that money aside. You put it aside and you start saving this money. Women with education, right? They educate their children, their families, their communities, the future generations. Wealth allows information to travel and information changes outcomes. When my son was young and we lived in Columbus, he went to a school called Emmanuel Prep. Y'all tell Pastor Carlos I said, what's up? Right? It was a all boys private school. And he went there. It's a school that focuses on math and science, so I wanted him to go there. It was also a Christian school. But what would it be for a woman like me to say, you know what, any other single mom that comes to this school, I'm gonna create a scholarship in the honor of my son coming to this school. I'm gonna create a scholarship, and any single mom who doesn't economically have the ability to pay for tuition here, I'm gonna pay for it, because that's what women do. And the reason why it was important for me to put my son in private school is because I had the education to know about the public school to prison pipeline. And I wanted to assure that you can build whatever prison you want to, but there won't be a cell with my son's name on it. Come on. That's why we need FU money. Listen, we can change as it relates to even the statistics related to crime, because there's a lot of conversations about single mothers and the children that they're raising and the children that end up in prison and they were raised in single mother homes, but there's not a conversation about the impact on poverty and how many of those children, it's not that they were just in a single mother home, they grew up in poverty. We talk about the drugs being introduced to the Black community in the 80s, but if we had FU money, it doesn't just change. Hey, it's bigger than us having it. It's about impacting our laws, impacting our community. It's about raising our children and our children being safe. It's about you not having to work your fingers to the bone and then trust your child with somebody who doesn't have their best well-being at heart. It's about you being able to make decisions for your health and not the insurance company making decisions for your health, or not the law making decisions about your health. There was a lady here in Georgia who passed away, but she had to give birth to that child, and that child had complications because a law from the Supreme Court was repealed. And now the grandmother and the father have to figure out, how are we going to take care of this baby with these disabilities? That's why we need FU money. This money increases safety. Money can provide better health care, better legal representation, safer neighborhoods, reliable transportation. One of the Hill Squad hotties, well, she's a Hill Squad baddie. If you are, so Hill Squad hotties are in the membership. So you click the join button below, and those are videos specific to the membership. You can send me messages directly about content that you want to create, and I will create those videos in the membership. A Hill Squad babe is somebody who works with me one-on-one individually, and you can click the link down below in the description if you are interested in doing that. One of the Hill Squad babes works for transportation, and right now not now, but later on, there's some votes that are being as votes being had later on as it relates to if they still want that to be offered. I know I live in Georgia. There's been a whole lot of conversation about the MARTA. When I lived in Savannah, I used to catch a cat. You understand what I'm saying? But what is it that when we have wealth and income that we can change how transportation is provided, especially for our children? Imagine you have a child that is special needs, and the bus is telling you that they can't come out there to get your child, and so you're having to figure out a way to get your child to school every day, pick your child from school up every day while you are working your 9 to 5. When you really can say, you know what, don't worry about it. I'm going to I'm going to I'm going to start my own transportation business. I'm going to get connected with Medicaid and any other child that needs to get to the school. I'm going to buy the bus and everything like that. I'm going to create a whole nonprofit. So now my baby who needs this service and any other parent that needs this service, they don't have to worry about it. It's not about us. It is about us, but it's about us improving not just our quality of life, but the quality of life of those around us. It's about us being conduits to meet needs, because first of all, we know the need because we have it. We're not alone in this. Come on now. What will it be like your sister is in a bad relationship and she's like, girl, I can't leave him. Baby, yeah, dog, yes you can. Listen, I'll take you, your kids, I'll put you over here, I'll set you up, I'll take care of you for a year. You have a year to figure it out. I'll pay for your divorce attorney, everything. You got it to figure out. And if you're a person with means and income and wealth, that means you rub shoulders with people in high places. And so you go, your sister go to court, you go to court to support your sister. The judge be like, that's such and she funded mine. I'm not saying that's what they do, because they shouldn't do that because they're impartial, but we know they do. Listen. Notice how many forms of protection are connected to financial resources. There was that whole conversation about, if you were alone in the woods, the bear or the man, and people got upset. But it was a conversation about safety, and women are looking for safety and income. FU money guarantees safety. Money ain't everything. But pretending money doesn't matter is often a luxury reserved to people who already have it. And not only is it reserved to them, they do their darnest to ensure you can't access it. That's why when you work a 9 to 5, them people taking all your money. But then when you're a business owner, there's all these tax loopholes to keep money in your pocket, because they want you to be a worker. They don't want you to be an employer, which leads me to this. Could it be that business that you are sitting on, that business you think is small, that business that you don't think is impactful will change people's lives? Could it be that instead of paying people minimum wage, you are paying people a living wage? Could it be that because of you and paying people a living wage, they are able to access wealth in ways that they hadn't before? They're working a dead-end job, making minimum wage. They start working for you. Now they're able to buy a home. Now they have reliable transportation. Now they're able to take care of their children, or they're able to take care of their parents because of you. Because you made a decision to go after some FU money. Baby, FU money is a form of resistance. Come on now, who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me? And I got this here FU money. Who? Listen, wealth gives women freedom to be themselves. Many women are performing versions of themselves that they don't actually like. How would it be? Listen, y'all, back in the day, okay, I'm delivered, okay, but back in the day, I used to get in trouble because I be going to work, and I ain't like you, I ain't talk to you, and here I am getting called to HR, Cynthia, Veronica feels like you don't like her, so I'm here listen, I came here to do this job, I ain't come here to make no friends, no new friends. Imagine people call you to the office, talk about something, oh, we think you're not a team player, you right. Effective in me. Oh, you need I don't need. Oh, we won't rehire you. Okay. I'm not coming back. Right? But when you don't have FU money, you have to stay small and quiet. You have to accept the status quo. You can't challenge the status quo. One thing about Deion Sanders and Shador Sanders, because they have FU money, when Shador went into the NFL, even though it was the Cleveland Browns and they tried to humble him because he had money and he was talking about changing the atmosphere, guess what? They had to hear him because money wasn't the token that they could use to take advantage of him because he came from money. What would it be for your children that when they go into certain spaces and places to work, because they have the financial backing of you, it's like, listen, these are some things that have to change in this atmosphere if this company is going to go forward. When you don't have money, it means that you're accepting less. You're unable to pursue your dreams. Not because you're incapable, but because you are living in survival, and survival is an expense, and it is a great expense that some of our mothers and grandmothers and aunties had to pay. But FU money creates room for authenticity. You can start the business. You can take the sabbatical. You can do your whole eat, pray, love. You can move cities. You can write the book. You can write the music. You can leave the job. You can change careers. You can set the boundaries. You can tell them people the truth. Why? Because you have FU money. Because your survival isn't dependent on somebody else's approval. When you are able to stand on your own 2 feet and you're not looking for anyone to take care of you, life becomes very different for you. People interact with you differently. And this type of freedom is priceless. But there's a lie that's told to many women, right? We're told that wanting money is shallow. I'm sorry if you hear that dog barking. That dog only want to bark when I'm over here trying to tell y'all something. Okay? Meanwhile, everyone else is building wealth, right? Why is it that money was held from us? Why is it that we couldn't have a bank account? Do you see how women lives have changed as the law has changed to allow them to have a bank account? In 50 years, women have become homeowners. Single women are becoming homeowners, opening businesses, getting degrees. I want you to know that everyone else is they're building wealth. They teach you about their 401k, all of this. They have all these accounts. They're building wealth. Money is not ultimately the goal, but you need it. Freedom is the goal. Safety is the goal. Impact is the goal. Choice is the goal. Respect is the goal. No longer will people interact with you based off of your gender. Because one thing about money, it's neutral. One thing about money, it's an equalizer. And that's why the girls need FU money. And so you no longer stay in spaces and places where you are supported, seen, heard, respected, where you don't have to be degraded in order to move, in order to be sustained, where you don't have to accept emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse in order to survive. The girls need FU money. The girls need FU money. And you need to create a plan for how it is you separate from a man, intend to attain it. I want you to know that money allows you to support causes you believe in. With laws has changed, funding has changed. Here in the CDC, money has been cut. The FDA, money has been cut. What would it be for you to create an independent lab so that you are able to test the food, right? Test the water, because there's been laws that have changed that now impact our drinking water. What would it be for you to have FU money to be like, listen, I'm about to have a farm, and I'm going to have a farm that's organic. Some of the crops I will give away, the other crops that I will sell, and people will know that these fruits, vegetables have no pesticides. The animals have no hormones. I am addressing a problem here in my nation. Maybe you are a chemist, and so you specialize in skincare and hair care. And we know, especially for women of color, a lot of our skincare and our health care, hair care has chemicals in it that is detrimental to our physical well-being. And you're saying, I'm going to create clean products. What's her name? Jackie Ina used $250,000 of her own money to fund her perfume. Girls need FU money. Listen, this money lets you help your family. It lets you build. It lets you leave relationships that aren't serving you. It lets you protect yourself. It lets you create. It lets you to be influential in the things that you want to influence. I am a mental health provider. FU money will let me go before Congress and say, look here now. This is how you are impacting women. This is how you're causing them distress. You're repealing laws that are impacting them. FU money will allow me to say, listen, stop legislating laws against women's body, and you don't have these same laws against men. Come on. FU money is a form of self-protection. It's a form of stewardship. It's a form of freedom. FU money allows you to impact not just your space and your life. It allows you to impact the world. I grew up in Germany. Germany is tender in my heart. But there were things that were there in Germany that are not here in the United States, and it bothers me. It bothers me as a mother. I had to make a decision that I had to return back to work versus being home with my son. It bothers me that last year when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, I still had to work. But if we had FU money, we could come together and we could talk to Congress about universal health care, because Canada has universal health care, Germany has universal health care, England has universal health care. How come we are a Western nation and we don't have it? These other nations have education. How come we don't? How come capitalism is able to run? Now, I know there's people saying, Cynthia, are you a socialist? Are you this? That's not the answer. It may not be, but at least we can get to the table and have conversations about it. Come on. Tennessee just changed the law so that if you have 2 domestic violence incidents, you go on a registry. Why is that in all of the other states? But if we had FU money, we could put pressure on our governments, on our politicians to say, hey, we want a registry for domestic violence the same way we have a registry for people who are sex offenders. Tennessee, we want to follow what Tennessee is doing there. We want to be able to ensure that the Violence Against Women's Act has funding. We want to be able to ensure that the Suicide Crisis Line has funding. We want to ensure that food banks have, if they don't have the food, that they have gift cards they can give out so that when the federal government shuts down, their employees are able to eat. The girls need FU money. We want to ensure that certain places are still protected so that people, billionaires, can't go and build resorts in areas that are supposed to be sanctuaries for animals and wildlife and the fauna and the flora. The girls need FU money. And when you get the FU money, let me go ahead and add this if you're still here. Be prepared for them to call you masculine, because money is really seen as a masculine trait, and that's why they don't want women to have access to it. Because if we had access to it, we would change the trajectory of not just our communities, not just our cities, not just our states, but the world. What happens when women with money, power, and influence sit at the table? Change. This is Heal the New Sexy. My name is Cynthia. I gotta go so I can get my FU money, and I hope you're creating a plan to get yours.